Philippines as a new territory of the United States. When we started making coins for the Philippines, of course, this would be under different legislation than most of the other coins. In fact, everything practically except the trade dollars. So then the other coins. But this was only the first 4 years, which are fully represented denomination-wise in proof. But the circulation strikes are much more flaky. So, and these also have an interesting distinction. This is a half cent from 1903. That's the proof. And there'd be a business strike. It's hard to get a really good image. Okay. That 1 cent. Now, with this coinage, you note that in this era, from 1903 to 1906, it was still not the policy to generate minor coins, that is, say, base metal coins, like the copper and the nickel coins, cents, half cents, 5 cents, and so forth, at any place but the Philadelphia Mint. And that was still how it was done. But silver coins could be done at the branch mints. So, the proof, of course, is once again Philadelphia Mint. The circulation strikes for 1903 came from both Philadelphia and San Francisco. There you see the little S there, to the left of the date. Same for the 20 cent. There's really nice proof. Philadelphia Mint, of course. Now, another thing different about these is because the Philippines was a territory, circulation strike 1903, 20 cent. And of course, circulation strike 1903, 20 cent for the San Francisco Mint. Now you see the S there. Okay, one small anomaly is that the 50 cent for 1903 exists as this proof. And as this business strike. A little bit of cartwheeling there. But the San Francisco, for that mint coin version of that, never got past a couple of hyper scarce trial strikes. And finally, the peso. Now, that peso is about 1% heavier, thicker that is, same alloy, as the standard US dollar that was still being minted that year in 1903. What's even more interesting is that the lower denomination silver were even fractions of this slightly heavier weight. They were not subsidiary coins. There's the Philadelphia. So, and there's the San Francisco. So then the 10 cent would be 1/10 the weight of the peso, and the 20, 2/10. 1904, the trend is continuing. Proof half centavo. And the business strike, half centavo. However, people didn't want to use the half centavo, so we stopped making it for circulation. And other than proofs and other special such things, the half cent no longer exists. So the 1 cent continues along. It's hard to find a good way to light that rather dark coin. But that lights up nicely. 1904, 1 cent. And you notice in the earliest dates, 3, 4, 5, 6, the dates of the pennies are somewhat larger than they would be later on. Now, let's see here. Half cent. All right. right, or 5 cents, I should say, nickel and 5 cents. They also stopped making the nickel 5 cent. In this case, it was very useful, but they made a large number of them, and the copper-nickel alloy just holds up so well. Here's the 10 cent for 1904, the proof. The nickel just held up so well that they didn't need to make any more for quite a long time. So here's the P mint version for circulation. Note the odd toning, that's kind of unusual. And then there's the S mint. Now in 1904, it's actually the P mint silver coins that were somewhat unusual in that they were all struck in about 10,000 strikes, not counting the proofs, which is about another 1,400 and something, for kind of a special mint set. They were like mint set only coins, because the ones for circulation, here's the 20 cent 1904 proof, the ones for circulation were to be made by San Francisco, and only the minor coins would be made for circulation by the Philadelphia Mint. And as I said, the half cent and the 5 cent were being made for the last time this year until, well, the half cent forever and the 5 cent for quite some periods of time. 1904 20 cent. Okay, here's the, all right, 1904 50 cent. I don't know, there's really a good way to see that. Not too bad. Yeah, okay. And then, again, this is the 50 cent made for the mint set. But about 3,000 sets of these did not sell, either at the Louisiana Purchase World Fair in 1904 in Louisiana or in the Philippines to collectors. There's the 1904S. They were dumped into circulation, but that's a very drop in the bucket out of the millions that were made at San Francisco. And finally, here's the 1904 peso. This is the only proofs that I have from the era covered by Alton Barton, because the Philippines, there was, instead of making the proofs in like maybe a dozen or a couple dozen or something, they exist in in hundreds, or in a couple of cases even over 1,000 copies, or a couple thousand in the case of 1903. Now 1905, even the proofs were kind of rare because it was actually 471 individual sets. Okay. Now 1905, we have the proof cent. But Philadelphia also continues to make the circulation strike. This has some very interesting toning on it. I kind of like this one. Okay, the 5 cent now only exists as a proof coin for this year, just like the half cent. And interestingly enough, the same goes for the 10 cent. But the 20 cent exists. The Philadelphia Mint version exists only as a proof. But the one is made for circulation. It's the San Francisco Mint. See, these are all the larger size that would be used until 1907, when, because the rising price of silver makes it impossible to continue using the, well, I got a good view of that one. These large silver coins, which furthermore were valued at, there's 1905S, only half of the equivalent sized American coins. So like this peso here, with 1% more silver than an American dollar, although in 1905 they had stopped making the American silver dollar, is actually translated to 50 cents. So suddenly that's more than 50 cents worth of silver in 1906, 1905S peso. So in 1906, a lot of changes were going to have to be made. Now we pressed on with continuing to make the proof set, but with one lone exception. 1906 is practically a proof-only year. That's it. 5 cent. Okay, 10 cent. So all these are made at a mere 500 of each. 20 cent. And 50 cent, except for the peso. They made a couple 100,000 for circulation at San Francisco. But unfortunately, the price of silver had finally gone back up to the point that the silver in the peso, the 1906, this is the proof one, in the circulation peso, had gotten to be more than the 50-cent value of the coin itself as money. People would melt them down. So they shipped them all back to recoin into smaller silver coins. Now there's one other thing I thought would be kind of interesting to note, and that's 1906S, is the design. And we'll just take this one as an example. You can see that's a very lovely design there. The Lady Liberty, believed to be the daughter of the designer, Melissio Figueroa. But what's interesting to see is the striking similarities between the peso and the $20 gold. In both cases, you have the same kind of flowing hair. You have very similar dresses. The faces are pretty similar, except one is a profile and one is straight on. In both cases, they're holding like an olive branch. Let's see if we can pick out the olive branch she's holding there. It's kind of in front of her neck, so it's a little harder to see. She's holding it there as well. And she's barefoot. I can't tell on the other. And there's something in the background, Mount Mayon of the Philippines, or in this case, the capital in the U.S. And on the other hand, well, this one holds a staff, and this one holds a hammer, symbolizing industry. But you can see that there could be something of an inspiration for the famous $20 gold in the Philippine peso. Though obviously the addition of the stars, the rays, and of course the beautiful eagle on the reverse, still take this the $20 gold to a whole new height of beautiful coins. But still, you can see its origin, or maybe an even unconscious source, in the peso. So, that's the first period of the Philippines.